Imagine getting 3 times your tax refund to pay off your debt. With this secret strategy that I'm about to share, we're going to turn that dream into reality. My name is Judah Z, founding partner, PandA Law Firm, a leading debt relief and consumer financial protection law firm. Today we're going to talk about how to take that tax refund, triple it up to pay off your debt. But before we get into the details, let's just give an overview of what we're going to talk about today. 1, why using your refund just by itself can limit the savings you can get on your debt. Number 2, how a debt relief attorney can help stretch that refund further. Number 3, why it's not wise to use the IRS as a savings account. And then lastly, tips and warnings about adjusting your withholdings, but please go contact a tax advisor as well. So let's talk about what most people do, right? The traditional approach of using your tax refund to pay off your debt. The issue with that is you only get a 1-to-1 ratio of how much you pay down the debt. So for instance, let's say you get a $3,500 tax refund and you use it to pay down your credit cards. You're actually losing money in between the time that you filed your taxes to when you actually get your refund. Because during that several week or several month period, those credit cards are still accruing interest. So once again, that $3,500 is not gonna go as far as you'd like it to go. So how do we triple that refund to make it go further for you? Well, number 1, you should use a debt relief attorney like PandA Law. When PandA is negotiating debt, credit card debt, personal loan debt, all kinds of debt, repos, broken leases, we can get settlements somewhere between 35 to 55 cents on the dollar on average, which means you're gonna save, 45 to 65% on your debt. Now, how do we do that? We create leverage. We create a reason for the creditors to do this. Well, we may threaten them with defending a lawsuit. We may threaten them with filing bankruptcy. If they violate the FCRA, the Fair Credit Reporting Act, or the FDCPA, the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, we can use your rights under those laws as a sword to also cut down your debt. So let's talk about how these percentages of savings actually work. Remember we talked about a $3,500 refund? So with these savings, that $3,500 can actually pay down around $10,000 in debt. And it only goes up exponentially the more refund you get. So for instance, let's talk about $6,000. Well, that can turn into $18,000 of debt savings if it's done correctly using a law firm like PandA Law. Now, of course, you know the phrase, individual results may vary. We can't use past performance to guarantee future results, but understand you're gonna get the best bang for your buck if you use an attorney to do this debt relief work for you. So why do you even need an attorney to do this work? I mean, can't you do it yourself? Well, I'll say that there's nothing in the law that someone cannot do on their own, right? If you got charged with murder, you could defend yourself. But there's an old adage in the law that says, a person that represents themselves has a fool for a client. So what does that mean? Well, number 1, you don't know what you don't know. So you might be missing out on strategies or defenses or claims that you can make if you just don't know they exist. Number 2, it's gonna take a lot of your time. Sometimes we're on the phone just on hold for 45 minutes to an hour waiting to speak to a creditor. I'm sure you have better things to do, work, family, enjoying life. Lastly, it's going to be stressful. You have to understand that debt collectors are trained to manipulate you emotionally, to make you feel shame, to make you feel like you're a bad person, that you're not worth anything. Well, they use these tactics to try to extort money from you. So as an attorney who's objective, they can say whatever they want about my client. I don't care. My job is to save you money, and we're gonna focus on those issues. So those are all reasons why that you should hire an attorney to do this kind of work. Look, I've been an attorney for 21 years, and I still hire attorneys to help me with things that I don't have the time to handle, that I'm too emotionally tied to, and perhaps that I don't know as well as I know debt relief. So I agree, there may be a fee to have an attorney help you with this work, but those costs are gonna be far outweighed by the benefit. Think about like insurance, right? You pay a little bit of insurance on the front end so you don't have a bigger issue later on. Same thing with hiring an attorney. So debt relief, debt settlement can save you money. But let's talk about other ways that you can save money and or make money. And that's by not using the IRS as a savings account. I know it seems attractive to overpay the IRS a little bit in your tax withholdings so you get a refund at the end of the year. And that feels great, you got a nice chunk of money. But if you do the tax withholdings correctly, you could just keep that money in your pocket. So for instance, let's say you get a $6,000 refund at the end of the year. That means you overpay the IRS by about $500 a month from your earnings. Well, what could you do with that money? Number one, you could use that $500 just to pay down the credit card debt, saving yourself that interest that we had talked about. Number two, you could take that $500, put it in a high yield savings account, and make somewhere between 3 to 4% on your money. So not only are you losing the buying power of that $500 by paying it to the IRS as essentially a tax-free loan to the federal government, and they don't need it, you need it. But number two, you're also losing the interest that you could have made over that year-long period. So just let me make this crystal clear. If you're getting a big refund at the end of the year from the federal government as a tax refund, you're probably overpaying on your taxes. So you should double check your tax withholding to make sure it's the right one for you. Perhaps talk to a tax advisor. Then also understand that $500 or so in our example, we can use that each month to make ends meet on your monthly budget. Also, that $500 a month we're talking about in our example means that you can actually use cash in your bank to pay your debts, pay your expenses, instead of relying upon credit cards that will continue to rack up interest rates at 30% per year and perhaps are even going higher. So really, we're gonna stretch your money, make it go further by not giving the federal government an interest-free loan by overpaying your taxes. So let's recap a couple things we talked about. Number one, if you're using your tax refund just to pay off your credit card debt, you're only getting a 1-to-1 ratio on your tax refund to paying down debt, okay? Not ideal. If we can use a debt relief law firm to help with this, it's actually gonna about triple the buying power of your tax refund. Number two, if you're getting a big tax refund at the end of the year, although that may feel good, you're actually losing money by making the federal government an interest-free loan. And that money you could use just to make ends meet at the end of each month, or perhaps to invest and make a return on that money. But then also, if you want to maximize that tax refund to pay down your debt, you should contact a debt relief law firm like PandA Law, and we can give you expert advice on how to get that done. I'm Judah Z, founding partner, PandA Law. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe.